Lesson 23, Physical Geography. Hello and welcome to this lesson. Today, we are going to talk about physical geography, the natural features of our planet. We will look at how to use the with geographical names, explore the geographical features of Iceland, and learn some useful words connected to the sea, rivers, and mountains. So, let us get started. Geographical features and using the. First, let us talk about a very important rule. When do we use the with geographical features? This can be tricky, so let us break it down. For most countries, we do not use the, for example, we say France or Brazil. However, if a country name is plural, we do use the, for example, the United States or the Netherlands. For individual mountains, we do not use the, for example, Mount Everest. But for mountain chains, like a range of mountains, we do use the, for example, the Himalayas. For individual islands, we do not use the, for example, Sicily. But for groups of islands, we do use the, for example, the West Indies. For rivers, we use the, for example, the Volga. For oceans, we use the, for example, the Pacific. For seas, we use the, for example, the Mediterranean. For gulfs, bays, and straits, we also use the, for example, the Gulf of Mexico, the Bay of Biscay, and the Strait of Malacca. For lakes, we do not use the, for example, Lake Erie. But for currents, like ocean currents, we do use the, for example, the Gulf Stream. Here is a useful language tip. Although most countries do not take the, they do need the definite article when they are followed by a phrase that limits the meaning. For example, we might say the Japan of today, the France we know from paintings, or the South America of the past. So, that is an exception to remember. Geographical features in Iceland. Now let us look at a real-world example, the geographical features of Iceland. Iceland is an island republic in the North Atlantic. Its landscape consists largely of barren plains, which means flat land where little grows, and mountains, with large ice fields, particularly in the southwest. The island has active volcanoes that still erupt, and is known for its thermal springs, which are hot, and its geysers, which are holes in the ground that send out hot water and steam. With less than 1% of the land suitable for growing crops, which are food that is grown, the nation's economy is based on fishing, and fish products account for 80% of its exports. The area of Iceland is 103,000 square kilometers, and its population is around 318,000 people. The capital is Reykjavik. So, this example shows how geographical features and human activity are closely connected. The sea, rivers, and mountains. Finally, let us look at some useful words connected to the sea, rivers, and mountains. Where land meets the sea, we have the coast, the shore, and the beach. These are all related to the edge of the sea. For rivers, we have valleys, low areas between hills, and gorges, which are valleys with very steep sides. A stream is a small river. For mountains, we have the foot, the bottom of the mountain, the ridge, a long, narrow area at the top, the peak, the very top, and the summit, also the top. There is also a glacier, which is a river of ice. So, that is our lesson on physical geography. These terms will help you describe the natural world around you, whether you are talking about landscapes, reading a travel guide, or discussing a country's geography.